It's 6:30.
Right.
You said you wanted to call at Gowley Street before you went to work.
Aye.
Changed your mind?
No.
Well, you better get up then.
Oh, God.
Hangover.
Yeah.
There's some bicarb in the bathroom. It's in the cabinet. Little round cardboard box with a tin top.
Oh, Christ. It's the coconut who won feet of the status last night.
Put in a glass case, shall I? Don't wake, Tom.
I remember when my mum died. The time they told me. My grand's arms round me. I pushed her off and ran upstairs and heard my granddad say, "Nay, let him go, Polly." I wanted none of them. Sometimes you can remember the smell of a day, the colours, the taste of dust on your tongue. The day my dad went off, he gave me a shilling. "Be a good lad for your mum," he said. Stood at the bedroom window, looking at the street. Both of them gone now. The end of the world. She left me a baby brother. When they brought Les home, he cried for a week. He did all me weeping for me. And because I made no sound, they said, "Brave lad, good lad. He's getting over it. It'll pass." As if the tide had come up and washed it away forever. He never stopped looking, though. Down at the street. For if somebody comes. Never stopped looking. Grained in you. Flesh and blood.
Why didn't you wake me?
I've got me own breakfast before. You can treat yourself when you get your own.
Oh, don't I treat you then?
Of course you do.
But stay home. You're up at this time. Why didn't you lay in?
Oh, have it. I should get used to it 4 weeks out.
Yeah, well, a fat lot of use that'll be. You'll be off back to Cornwall then.
Aye.
I didn't like to say anything last night after your long journey, but this house you mentioned that you said there might be a chance of.
It's only a chance. Not certain.
Is it... Would you say it was as good as this then?
Nay, they've not had money spent on them that Sam spent on these. It's fairish. For down there.
Is it to rent or buy?
To rent.
Oh.
Now, Frank's home, isn't he?
Aye. Parliament's closed down.
For good?
No. You know what they call recess, isn't it? Eileen went down there for a week, just after Corby's funeral. Just for a week she went.
He broke his neck, didn't he, Corby?
Paralytic drunk, they said at the inquest. He were bankrupt, you know. They had to sell off the house and furniture to pay the debts. He's not left that lass of his a penny. We were at the sea the day it happened. She was with us, Sarah Corby. That place that we went to, you know, that time, when your daughter were alive.
Sam's still knocking about with you, Sarah Colby.
Yeah, they've been thick as thieves all summer ever since it happened.
Will they get wed then?
There was no sign of it. You know what he's always said? He got wed on his 100th birthday, he's always said.
Brought some for you.
Thanks. Did you peep at Tom?
Right. He opened his eyes, looked at me, and went straight off again. You always told me his eyes were blue. Blue like mine, you said. They look more grey to me.
You must be colourblind. I doubt if Mrs. Ash will sit for us again.
Why not?
I think she's twigged that you don't always go straight home. They're taking the furniture to the sale rooms today, by the way.
Today?
Oh, it's all right. I'm keeping the stuff in here. And a few other bits and pieces. And there's still a month before I have to move out.
Have you written to your granddad?
Yes, I said I'd give him a fortnight's notice if I was coming.
I'll have to be off.
You've had no breakfast.
I'll get some back home.
When shall I see you?
Tonight.
If you want. Bye then.
Bye.
He's just sneaked in the back door from his night out.
Sam?
Yes. Half an hour's time, he'll put on a big show about setting off for work, as though he's been there all night. You'll see. You must think we're all daft.
You don't make a lot of noise, do you?
My granddad?
Up early, were you?
Early-ish. No need for you to get up.
Off to work in your best suit, are you?
We've got some customers coming round the works. I shall wear me overall over it.
You've made your bed, I see.
Aye.
You're a tidy sleeper, aren't you? Your Aunt Ethel put clean sheets on your bed yesterday. There's not a crease in 'em.
Been peeping, Grandad?
You'd think I were born yesterday, the tales you've had me swallow.
I don't want you to swallow any tails. Spit 'em out.
Why couldn't you say you've been out all night?
What, and do you out of your fun? You like playing Sexton Blake, don't you, Grandad?
Back to your old ways, is it?
But you tell me. You're the bloody expert.
Corby's lad.
Oh, mind your own business, Grandad.
I thought you'd haven't soured on her and taken somebody your own weight on. Don't you reckon she's got enough on her plate? Her dad did naught for her. What do you reckon you've got to offer?
What's it to do with you, for God's sake?
There's talk going around.
Oh, so it's the talk that bothers you, is it, Grandad?
We live in the same house. You behave like a bloody libertine. It reflects onto me.
Well, I'm a chip off the old block, aren't I? You've always said so. What did you want me to stop for, then?
I want you to stop. Who said I wanted you to stop?
You did. They're all going, you said. Aye, and small bloody wonder. So I went away, Grandad. I saw the rest of the world, or a good part of it. Brazil, where the nuts come from. Yankee land, where the real capitalists live. Australia, where we sent the sheep stealers. I'm single. I've no ties. Why do you think I stopped? I've seen better bloody places than this, Grandad. What have you seen in your life?
Ah, you like to belittle me, don't you?
You've belittled me all my life. All my life I've been out a step from where you stand. I thought we started to make a go of it these past few months, but no. I can't put a foot right where you're concerned, can it?
You call what you're doing right.
I'm living me life, Grandad.
Aye. Fun and fancy. And she'll pay the bloody price, won't she?
Ask her if she's any complaints, then.
When women have nobody to turn to, they've to take what they can get. That's what life does to women.
You know all about it, don't you, Grandad?
I know what your mother had to live with.
And I don't I? You think like Dakin. I was a lad, I knew nothing, I could learn nothing. That's the way you think, ain't it? Aye. You've seen it all and I can learn nothing except through you. Well, what have you seen that gives you the right to show me the way? The promised land. Jerusalem the Golden. Where is it then? Tell me where it is so I can go and have a look at it and set it against what I've seen. Show me the promised land, Grandad, and I'm your man. Only you can't, can you? There isn't one, is there? It's like you yourself said that time when you asked me to stop.
I never.
I never. It's just in your head and you drag it out once a year like Christmas. You know, it's like those Sunday school treats that Gran used to get me all dressed up for. Big fuss, big treat, and we'd end up in Stanley Park again. Same old bag of buns, same old apple. All dressed up and nowhere fresh to go. I don't want that same old bag of buns, Grandad. I shall seek what I want and find it. I'll live my life my way. Like it or lump it, I'll be as I am, not as you think you see me.
Look, Sarah, I still think you should come and stay with us for a couple of weeks. Look, Sarah.
I heard you, and the answer's no. Well, of course it is. We want to stay friends, don't we? Anyway, I drink too much and keep late nights, hadn't you heard? And I had this very odd friend.
Yes, well, I'm a bit off your odd friend, Sarah.
It was a nice thought, Granny, both of you. I'm glad of the thought. Look, I'll be perfectly all right here. They're leaving me a bedroom intact. And a couple of chairs.
But it's so temporary.
Well, of course it's temporary, you're not. She knows that.
She knows what I mean. I mean she should be making plans.
What, to go to her granddad's?
It's time I got to work.
Well, don't just keep saying it. Go. I'll walk back. I've got to the shops anyway.
You know where we are if you need us.
Born worrier. Yes, I worry too.
I don't. I've given it up.
No, you haven't. I know you. You're worried sick, aren't you?
They'll be down in a minute.
What's wrong with him?
He works too hard.
Aye, I know that.
I suppose you think he does it just for the money, to keep us, his family. The millstone round his neck.
It's a bad reason, is it, Cass?
Well, it's your idea of marriage, isn't it, Sam?
Oh, another that thinks she knows it all. Know all about me, don't you, Cassie Dent?
Don't Cassie Dent me. Crossman's my name.
Aye, I'm sorry, I forget.
Like you forgot the last time you were in the kitchen there.
It wasn't me in that kitchen with you, Cass. It were two animals in there. If it's on your mind, think of it like that and then forget it.
Forget it, just like that?
You don't understand, do you? Neither me nor yourself. You want life as you think it should be. You're like me granddad. It blinds you to things as they are. He's more honest than you, Cass. If he's festering inside you what we did, tell him. Let it out. I'll tell him for you if you like.
You would do too, wouldn't you?
You'll not so easy forget it if you don't, Cass. I promise you that. Tell him. I'll clear off. He'd expect that of me, but he'd not blame you. He knows more about life than you do, Cass.
You think you know more about him than I do?
I hope not. You're married to him, Cass.
He's coming, don't you dare.
Let it stop as it is, then. Let it live.
Oh, sorry about this, Sam.
She says you're not so well.
It's a long-standing stomach thing. Comes and goes.
You want to know if you can take that chap on in my job?
Yes, we've to let him know tonight if we want him.
You didn't have to bother seeing me. I could have spoken to Harry Webb.
Yeah, rubbish. You're one of the family. And a shareholder to boot, in a small way.
Aye. How'll they do in the shares?
Don't you know?
I forget I have them.
They're not doing too badly at all.
Well, you can take that chap on.
You sure?
I'm sure.
Right, well, I'll talk to Harry Webb. Look, there is just one other small thing whilst you're here. There's a chap up here from Surrey for a couple of days. You might have seen him about the works. Well, he's the brother-in-law of my cousin who helped finance the assembly plant. He's been axed from the Navy. He's looking for a job, so Jack thought he might suit us as sales manager. I'd like to know what you think.
I know nothing about sales.
No. It's the technical aspect. He's supposed to know about diesels. No formal qualifications, though. I'd like you to have a chat with him.
Ah, well, I can manage that for you.
Right. Look, why don't you take your girlfriend out for a night on the firm? Cassie's taking him out to dinner tonight. You could join him.
Sarah?
He once said, I'm all you've got, and look at me. He was ashamed because he thought he'd let me down. Shouldn't you be at work?
Dinner on Christmas tonight.
Oh?
Business.
Oh.
Looks empty, doesn't it? Upset you?
Oh, you know.
Pick you up at 7.
Perhaps you should go on your own.
Don't want to come?
Look, Sam, I'm all right now. It's worked. I'm on my feet. I don't need you anymore.
You don't?
I mean to prop me up. And you've got your own plans and your life to live. I'll go to Grandad's and sort things out. You can come and see me there if you want to. There's no real point in hanging on here for another month, is there?
Well, I thought you wanted to stop on.
Was seeing the furniture go, I think. I felt like a bit they'd left behind. Better to go now.
Happen.
I knew you'd think so.
Did you?
Maybe I will come tonight. Last fling?
Last fling.
Pat's coming home next week.
Yes, I know, you told me.
Oh, how do you know she's coming home next week? Did she write to you?
Well, you saw her in London, didn't you?
Well, you never told me you saw her in London.
Didn't I? I meant to. I wrote and told her what train I was coming on, and she met me for half an hour.
You see, is that much happening in his life these days? He forgets half of it.
He's a chap with you.
A chap?
Aye, chap. A friend, you know. A chap.
What sort of a chap? What's he do? Where's he come from? How long's she known him?
Hey, I thought I didn't ask him for his bloody birth certificate. Can't even remember his name.
Well, you might have found out his height and his weight and whether he's got any birthmarks or other distinguishing features. After all, she is your daughter.
Well, there's not we can do about it, any road.
Do about what?
Well, if she'd never left home and he'd lived next door, she'd have done as she pleased, choose what we have to say.
She's not bloody married to him, as far as I know. That he's just somebody she picked up.
Picked up? What an expression. Well, she's got a home to come back to if she needs one. It'll be Cornwall, of course, not here. Still be her home.
Oh, she liked it round here, did your pap? She's still got a few mates here. It's funny, though, the number of old faces that are disappearing. Frank says they're not going to build any more houses over on Skeleton Estate now they've closed down Cuddy Pit.
We were right to move. There'll be nobody left soon.
Frank's been getting it from Jack ever since he's got home. Jack says he should be asking questions in Parliament. Says we're going to end up like a ghost town like they have in the Wild West.
There's a lot of money down south, you know.
There always has been.
Things are perking up here. Some parts, any road. I think it'll get better in time.
It'll come too late for us. We were born too soon. Who mended you these, for heaven's sake?
What did it, Miss Sam?
Yeah, I thought I recognised that delicate touch. Have you got any grey downy wool about that shade?
I might have. I'll have a look. I've got to get back in your old.
One tin of black boot polish, black men's shoes for the use of, thank you very much.
Good heavens, he's returned something.
Oh, look at her. Doesn't she look lovely? Every time old Frank puts a year on, she seems to take one off.
Here, don't let him hear you say that.
And look at George with that southern suntan. By God, he's a handsome devil. And as for you...
I know. Fresh as the morning dew.
Hey, you're in a good mood, aren't you? Going out with the girls?
2 on 'em.
And they say Casanova's dead. Come on, love, I'll go and get that wool with you.
Well, what's the old place look like, George?
Not much different.
It looked worse to me when I'd been away for a bit.
It'd suit me.
No place like home, eh? Not even Cornwall.
I suppose you think I'm daft.
No, I don't think you're daft, George.
Is there any jobs going in Foundry at Crossman's?
Tom. It's like. Can I stay till Sam comes? Yes, if you want to. Go on, come along. Hello, Tom. Can you go and stay with me tonight? Are you? Stay in the car.
Cassie tells me you've babysitter problems.
Yes, I rang her. She said she'd have a word.
I tried to ring you, but I couldn't get through.
I've cut the phone off.
Yes, I should have thought.
Tom wants to stay till Sam comes. We're picking him up at Crossman, so I'll drop him in then.
Yes, okay.
I'm sorry you had to drag out.
That's all right. Tidying up?
Must seem a bit pointless when we're going.
Somebody will benefit.
Yes, somebody will.
So you're going out with Cassie then?
It's something to do with Crossman's, with a business.
Sarah? You remember when I told you I was pregnant? And you helped me sort it out and tackle Granny and so on?
Yes, I remember. What of it?
I'll never forget it. You were smashing.
What's brought this on?
Well, it's just that none of us seemed to be able to get through to you, to help. And there's something I wasn't ever going to tell anybody, and I wouldn't have done if it hadn't been for this.
Jessie!
No, don't stop me. It was one morning. You were going to the seaside for the day. Where we went with Granny that time. You were going with Sam. And Sam brought Tom round to Cassie's early in the morning for him to stay there. Well, I was up in the bedroom at home. I don't know if you remember, but it looks down into Cassie's kitchen. Cassie and Sam were in there, and he's no use to you, Sarah.
There now, if you tell him to put that in the oven at 4 o'clock tomorrow, it'll be ready for when you get back, OK?
Right, what about me then? Seeing the time, I'm hungry.
Oh, it's the visitor from London.
You half mean that, don't you?
Oh, we know we're not up to London standards. Mrs. is tea on the terrace, you know. Sure you wouldn't like it in the backyard, make you feel more at home?
Hey, now don't come that sort of talk with me, Mrs. Barraclough.
You'll get yourself in the Sunday newspapers if you do that to the waitresses down south. I'll get you tea. I know me place.
What's she like when I'm away?
She pops in here a lot. Goes round to see Ethel.
She should have had children.
Aye. There's plenty do that shouldn't.
She had a miscarriage, you know.
When Dakin was alive?
No, after we were married, when you were away. It didn't just grow in her, it grew in me. Up here. I was bracing myself to be a father at 43.
That's as near as I'll come to knowing what it means, I suppose. I came near enough to knowing that it's different.
Different?
To the way I used to care about some of the kids in school, I mean. The ones that obviously weren't cared for at home. And you can care a lot.
When I left home that time, after Les and Dakin were killed, what month was it?
Spring of 48. April, wasn't it?
About 4.5 years back.
Seems a lot longer somehow, doesn't it?
Aye.
I was never all that sure why you went. Because of Les or Alan or because of Sarah Corby. Well, it was about that time she went out with that chap she married, wasn't it?
Aye. And there's plenty said I'd got me comeuppance.
And had you?
Nah. I wasn't thinking of marrying anybody at that time. Well, the politics keeping you busy.
You mean, am I going to sleep through the recess? Oh, heavens, no. I have to plough through all the stuff we've discussed on education and try and come up with a few ideas of my own. I think a lot about you, you know, when we're talking about comprehensives and the 11 plus. There's a lad I know, I say, who might have had a different life with a comprehensive system in the 30s.
What's that?
Well, somebody described it as an aristocracy of achievement from a democracy of opportunity. But that's putting it a bit too simply for me. You'd not have had to prove yourself by the age of 11, that's for sure. You were a classic late developer. Too late as things were.
Aye, and as some would say, I'd not moved an inch since, eh?
Oh, you've moved. You've had an easier time of it, though.
I'd have had an easier time still if my grandad had let Toby pay for me to go to grammar school. But to pay for his principles.
He knows that. In fact, he said it to me once. Lies on his conscience. And he pays, too, because he's got one. It's a weird and wonderful world, eh?
You'll sort it all out in Parliament, though, eh?
There's a lot that'll never be sorted out in Parliament. The most important parts of life, I sometimes think.
I'm glad you said that.
Why?
Well, I like a chap that knows his limitations.
Folks that can't put things back where they bloody belong.
Have you lost something, Grandad?
Where did you leave my screwdriver last time you used it?
It's on the front bedroom windowsill where you left it when you mended that catch.
Why?
He'll stop up there now till I've gone. The minute he hears that door close, he'll be down like a rocket.
What's the trouble?
It's that part of life you were talking about. It'll never be sorted out in Parliament. Well, I've half an hour. I can take me time, let him sit up there on the edge of the bed, or I can go.
Be charitable, eh?
See ya.
He'd leave it laying there sooner than put it back in its rightful place. Where's he off, did he say?
He'll be going with Sarah Corby, won't he?
She'll bloody rue it. Has he said aught to you about them 4 hours of his down on the road there?
What about him?
Ern Slater that lives in the end one says they've been given the chance to buy.
By Sam?
They're his bloody houses.
Well, happening he needs the money for something.
For what? He's got what you give him for yourn. He gets a good wage from Crossman's. He's packing his bags, I reckon.
It doesn't follow, does it?
Would you blame him if he did want to leave this place? Would you blame him?
Well, he went before and he came back.
A bloody changing room, that's what it is to him. Somewhere he leaves his clothes. Look at our George. Forced down to Cornwall because of note for him here. Rooted him himself up at his age.
Well, a lot of people are going to have to do that, Dad. Move out and up. You should see the plans for some of the cities.
It's wrong.
Slums have to go. Look, what did you used to say about condemned houses stopping up? We have to find something different, fast. That's what you said.
They take no count of folks' lives.
There are so many people, Dad, and every single one's a special case. How do you cope with that?
You have to give 'em a choice.
Between slums and new houses?
That's Hobson's bloody choice.
Don't you want a new world?
I want a better bloody world, that's what I want. Have we learnt naught that we chuck out the rubbish just to put more in its place? You know what him that's just gone out said to me today? Show me the promised land, Grandad, he says. Only you can't, can you? Because there isn't one. That's what he said. What would you say to me if I said that to you, eh?
I'd say you were assuming it was the same place for everybody. It's not, is it?
You'd think it was to look at what's going on. Give them another 10 years, you'll not tell one pub from another. You'll travel 50 miles from one place to another and think you're back where you started. Aye, and we will be and all if we don't watch out. What you going to do about that, then, Ethan?
Isn't that what's wrong? I mean, we think it can all come about through what we do to change what's outside us. If you can't change your life, change your pub. What comes first? A better place, a better people? But it's in us, not outside us.
Hello there. All right. Sarah,
I've changed. We're ready.
you'd rather stop here doing this, wouldn't you?
You think there's no point, do you?
Why?
Because I'm doing it for somebody else.
I think there's a point.
You ought to try gardening sometime. It's uncomplicated.
Is it?
It's life without people.
He'll be 4 next, won't he?
Tom, yes, why?
About December, by my reckoning. Hey, up. Are we off, then?
Who's Cassie introducing him to?
Rayner. He's one of the chaps that came up from Franklin's when they closed. He's an accountant.
Like Granny.
Aye, but Granny's flesh and blood.
Maybe that's why you're in his bad books lately.
Oh, what have I done to Granny?
He thinks you're trifling with my affections.
What do you think?
I think we had an understanding. Clear on both sides. We've had fun and fancy. No complaining here. Thank you.
Thanks.
What's his name, this chap we're out with? I know it was said, but I've forgotten it.
Hornby. Shouldn't forget a name like that.
Oh. Taken a dislike to him, have we?
He's not my type.
Is that bad?
You're after me tonight, aren't you?
What's he done that's upset you, besides speak with a public school accent?
He's a brother-in-law of a cousin that put some money up for the firm. It's jobs for the boys.
Sorry about that. I suppose we should order.
I am starving.
I'm sorry, old boy.
Same old rubbish. Why don't you always give me a load of rubbish?
You've to do the best you can with what you're given.
I know that. I know that all my bloody life. What I'm given, aye. What I'm given, aye. Be grateful for what you're given, as others were softer than you are. For what we're about to receive, may the Lord make us truly thankful, aye.
Stop chuntering, get on with it.
I'm going solo.
I'd have gone solo if it had been my call.
No, but it wasn't your call, was it?
Mazza.
Oh, not again.
I shall get Ethel to come and make up hand when I've done this. I'm weary of it.
You can ask her, she'll not come.
Why not? Why won't you come?
She hardly sets foot in here. You can ask her why.
I can bloody imagine.
You what?
Said I can imagine why she doesn't.
Go on then, let's hear it.
It's the way you behave towards her. Always have done. Since the day we was wed. It's a pity when you can't go off for a month or two looking for work for yourself and depend on your own to look after your own.
Look after? What looking after does she need? She needs less looking after than anybody I ever look after her.
You're wicked, you know that. You've a wicked tongue.
Now, don't take it out on us because she wants you to go down south and you don't want to go. Don't take it out on us.
Whose fault is it that I have to go down south? Whose fault is it?
What do you mean?
Well, you're on council. You've been in union for years. Why is there no work for me here and what I know if you've been so clever?
Now, don't get on at me.
Why not? I've never been in politics. Nobody's ever pointed a finger at me and said, there's George Barraclough, he's a councillor. No, they haven't. If you want credit, take bloody blame. And I've done. I'm bored. I'm off. You deal a bad hand.
Let him get it off his chest, the cheeky young bugger.
He's getting on for 50, Dad.
Hey?
Oh, look, I'll go. I've got things to do.
What was that you said?
I said he's getting on for 50. You said cheeky young bugger. I said he's getting on for 50.
Well, what about it?
Don't you think it's about time he started to treat him according to his age?
Now, look here.
No. No, you can listen to me for once. He's cared for you all his life, and all his life you treated him like a simpleton, and he's not. He's a good lad with a good heart. Mum knew she tried to tell you. Give him credit, Dad. And he's right, too, about you and me. In politics, the credit and the blame. Why are the pits closing down? Why have we made no provision for it? And what's the coal board doing that we shouted so much about? And whose side is the union supposed to be on?
You call yourself a socialist?
There are times, Dad, when I need a lot of faith. A lot. And a lot of hope. And all the charity I can find.
I was only in public school for 2 years, actually.
I wouldn't have thought so.
Dad died when I was quite young. Mum brought us up. Well, that was marvellous.
But not what you used to.
Not what I'm used to at all, as a matter of fact.
You drag their business in from far afield here. They have to. The locals can't afford it.
They seem to know you.
Well, I'm a wealthy landlord, aren't I?
And heading for a seat on the board, aren't you, Sam?
No, Cassie, you know what they say. Sarcasm is the lowest form of wit.
I wasn't being sarcastic. What's all this? He's leaving his job. He's going to be an assistant to the works manager, aren't you, Sam?
So they tell me.
He's a bit shy about it because his heart's really on the shop floor, isn't it, Sam?
With the workers.
Works manager's basically shop floor, I'd have thought.
Apart from the money.
Having a good time, Cass?
I'm doing all right, thanks. And I don't mind saying so.
Yeah, have some more wine.
Thanks.
You'll go to what's left of your head.
My head's all right. See how he talks to the boss's wife?
Cassie.
I know. We were uneducated together. Drop it, Sam.
Wine?
He's had enough.
I beg your pardon.
I said you've had enough.
I'll have some more wine, thank you.
No, you won't.
And what gives you the right to speak for me? Give us some, Mr. Hornby.
Now, Cass.
Where did you pick him up?
More for us.
It's what life made him, your dad. Nobody else to blame.
All his life he's been telling us how to get there. Never told us where we're bloody going.
You glad to be home?
Aye. I don't get cocoa down there. They don't make cocoa at Diggs. I have tea. I don't like tea at night. Makes me want to go.
This chap our Pat was with...
Now, don't start worrying about that.
Oh, I'm not... Well, I am, I suppose. How could I not?
What purpose will it serve?
Well, none, I suppose.
She'll live her own life in her own way, our Pat. She'll have better than us.
Better? Or more?
Well, it's the same thing, indeed, up to a point.
What point?
Well, I wouldn't know, would I? We've never got there, have we?
Haven't we?
It's always been work for us. Work or do without.
What would we have done with it, do you reckon, if we'd had it?
Done with what?
Well, more. If we'd had more, what would we have done with it?
Well, we'd have lived better, wouldn't we?
Up to a point, yes, I can see that.
We'd have had a better life.
Yes, I know. But after you've got all you need and so on, I mean, after that, what comes after that? After things?
Well, you live, don't you?
Do you remember young Les with his gramophone? Pleasure he got out of it. All that classical stuff, I could never make head nor tail of it. It's all part of life, though, I suppose. But we'll never know about things like that, George, you and me. And there's Frank with his books. I borrowed one once from Eileen. Poetry it was. I always thought poetry was poetry, but it was modern, as she said. Can't say I understood it all that well. You have to be born to it, I dare say. And yet he's your brother? What makes us different, George?
Well, we're born like it, aren't we?
Are we? I don't know.
Well, it wouldn't do if we're all the same, would it?
No, but I never feel I were given a choice somehow. Oh, and it's like you said about your dad. They're that busy telling us how to get there, they've forgotten to tell us where we're going.
Well, I know where I'm going.
Do you, George?
I'm going up to bed.
Oh.
Yeah, I'll take these in the kitchen, eh?
George. I don't want to go to Cornwall.
Hey, forgot to fetch Tom.
He's staying the night. Good night, Sam.
Sarah?
Last fling, wasn't it? Good night, Sam.
Sarah? Sarah?
I thought you were going to bed.
Aye. I'll just finish this fag.
We'll finish up here after all, then.
Aye. You'll see me all right at Crossman's, will Sam?
We've not done much with us lives, have we? Plus others done less, I suppose. We've had us odd moments, though, haven't we?
Of course we have.
Don't be long, will you?
Poetry.
Smash the kitchen window.
You've got a damn cheek.
Aye, I survive on it. That's what your dad used to say. You're a cheeky young bugger, he'd say.
The way you behaved in there. Over for all of that stupid wine business. Because he was a southerner with a public school accent. That's all he has got. Cassie told me he's broke and he needs the job. So he has to be pleasant to a lout like you because you might have influence to go against him. Oh, because of an accent.
It's bred in me. It's what they call a class war. It's bred in him, too. It's a war, love.
Yes, and don't you love it?
No, I don't, as a matter of fact. Let's go and fetch young Tom, eh?
He's staying the night there. He is not going to be disturbed.
Right, I'll fetch him myself.
Then I'll go and tell him to show you the door. I'm his mother.
Who's his father, Sarah?
And how long's that been going on up there?
On and off. You went straight from me to David. Do you want me to go into the details?
Spare me those.
Who is it, Sarah? This lout or the other lout?
Oh, did it hurt? Then I meant it to.
Who's Sarah?
Does it matter?
It matters. It matters to me.
Why? You care about him, do you?
You know I do.
Because you think he's yours? Because when he's hurt, it's your own flesh and blood that's hurt? Is his hurt any less, then, if he's not your flesh and blood? Are kids that have no mother and no father less vulnerable to pain, then? Less in need? You should know the answer to that, if anybody does.
I want to marry you, Sarah.
And you better have a blood test first to make sure he's yours.
I'm buying this house.
You're what?
I'm selling me other houses. I'm buying this house. For you, Sarah.
You're not fair. You are not fair. You know I've nothing of my wits, and with worry, and you offer me a way out for all the wrong reasons.
Well, what are the right reasons, then?
He's not yours, Sam. Dunce's Corner, Sam. You got your arithmetic wrong.
Honest?
Wanted to be teacher's favourite, did you? To do the right thing? To be told to go to the top of the class and give the pen nibs out?
I'll send somebody round to mend that kitchen window tomorrow.
Yes, thanks.
Better lock the kitchen door tonight.
Yes, I will.
I'll let myself out.
Did it hurt tonight with Cassie?
Who told you?
I know, that's all.
Well, you know all about me then. I'm old enough to know better, aren't I?
I used to tell myself that.
We hang on to things when there's no point. Why? What we're looking for.
I don't know, Sam.
I have this dream. I'm a lad. I'm standing at a window looking down on the street. I can hear somebody crying. And I shout. I shout, I want me dad. That sale's not till next Wednesday. If you want any of the furniture back, go and buy it. We'll talk about the wedding in the morning.